Perfect. So hi everybody, thank you for joining today. Today I'm going to present a case study we at ControlMonkey have with an AWS customer about how to manage, govern multi-account AWS environment. A little bit about ControlMonkey. So ControlMonkey, it's a Terraform automation platform. The customer that we're talking about today, that we can't actually reveal their name, is a major online e-commerce vendor. I'm sure that you're all aware of him. And they basically transact dozens of million requests per day. So before talking about the case study, a little bit about ControlMonkey. So ControlMonkey, it's a fully end-to-end Terraform automation platform. That means that we provide a set of tools to help customers to govern, automate, visualize, spin up infrastructure at scale. And we provide total cloud control. When we talk about total cloud control, we mean three main things. First of all is total visibility. So understanding everything running in your cloud, full asset management across account, across region, even across vendors. Uh, Second thing is total resilience. So we help customer to achieve a 100% ISC coverage with our AI-powered code generation that knows to reverse engineer existing infrastructure in your current cloud accounts to Terraform, OpenTofu. And the third part of the total cloud control is total automation. And this one talks about how to ship infrastructure with confidence. So also here we provide tools like CI/CD for Terraform and drift detection and proactive policies to eventually help customer deliver faster and safer while keeping compliance and security, but also to reduce the DevOps skills gap. So helping engineers to be more autonomous, and even if they're not infrastructure expert or ISC expert, they can still deliver infrastructure according to the organization guardrails. So that's a little bit about ControlMonkey. Usually we work with big customers, so we're trusted by a Fortune 500 customers that are using our platform to deliver their infrastructure, to manage, to automate their cloud infrastructure. Going back to the customer, so this customer had a few challenges. The first one was around asset management and visibility. So they had dozens of AWS accounts across multiple regions, and they had a lot of blind spots. So they didn't really have a resource inventory that they can look for resources across accounts. They were looking for real-time visibility to know what's their estate at any given moment. Which of course comes from their need to have better governance on their account. So that's challenge number one. Challenge number two was around legacy resources that weren't managed by ISC, which affects their disaster recovery posture. Think about a cloud account where not all of your resources are managed by ISC. What happens if one of your resources gets deleted? How are you going to restore that resource? And infrastructure as code, ISC actually allows you to, define everything in code that you can reproduce if something bad happens. They had a lot of legacy infrastructure, not managed with ISC. This, of course, affects their DR posture, their SLA to their customers, their RPO, their RTO. They did have some manual processes to recover some of the resources, but those were really slow and didn't meet their SLA with their customer. So that's challenge number two. Challenge number three was around automation and how to standardize infrastructure delivery. So the automation that they built in-house didn't really scale. It slowed down automation, especially in peak events. In the retail industry, they have those peak seasons, which created for them scalability challenges. And eventually the lack of standardization increased their risk for downtime. Also onboarding new engineers to the team with different skill set and experience impacted their velocity. And they were looking for a solution that will actually help them with those three, with the asset management, with the disaster recovery, and with the automation standardization. Let's see how ControlMonkey helped them. So the first thing that ControlMonkey helped with is total visibility. providing unified asset management across account, regions, even vendors. So they're using AWS as their primary cloud vendor, but they're also using all kind of third-party vendors like Datadog and Cloudflare and other vendors. So they gain with ControlMonkey full visibility, eventually getting better governance and reducing any blind spot that they had. The second thing that they did with ControlMonkey is to import all of their AWS infrastructure to Terraform. So part of what we do is one-click Terraform code generation. We knew to take all of their legacy infrastructure, that their 2020 or 2018 infrastructure, and import that back to Terraform, eventually creating them a baseline of how their infrastructure should look like, what its desired configuration. And again, improving RTO, RPO, and SLA. If right now their Route 53 gets deleted, they have a Terraform code that they can just rerun and reproduce those resources. And the third part with ControlMonkey was around the infrastructure automation. And over there, we provided them a CI/CD for Terraform with out-of-the-box proactive policies, eventually making sure that any cloud change is being inspected, audited, gated with proactive policies around security, around compliance. So allowing them to have this confidence that whatever reach production is not going to break any of their security posture, but also allowing less experienced engineer to be able to contribute to their infrastructure management and to deliver faster. If you don't have to wait for your experienced engineer for code review, and if you get immediate feedback for any change that you want to do to the cloud, eventually you waste less time on waiting and you invest more time in innovating. I would just say that doing all of this with ControlMonkey was pretty straightforward and fast. We technically wise, we connect to the cloud account, to the version control system, and they were able to achieve those three goals in less than 2 months. Let's talk about the impact on the customer. So the first thing was the disaster recovery readiness, increasing their ISC and DR posture from 50% to 93%. As you know, in the retail industry, if you have a minute of downtime, it means you lose money. So with them increasing their disaster recovery readiness, they also improve their SLA to their customer, eventually losing less money in a case of a disaster, or even not a big disaster, it could also be accidental deletion. So that's impact number one. Impact number two was around reducing their asset investigation time by 80%. Right now, when they're looking for a resource or understanding what's their relation between resources, they were able to reduce it by 80% with our unified cloud inventory, again, across accounts, across regions, across vendors. So now it's really, really easy for them to understand what's their asset inventory. The third impact was around deployment velocity. So they increased their velocity by 3. Again, when you have a robust automation, robust pipeline, when you have instant feedback for any change that you want to make to the infrastructure, when you don't need to wait for your senior engineer, you can, again, invest more time in delivering infrastructure. So those were the three main metrics that this customer experienced by using the ControlMonkey SaaS platform. And this is the quote from the customer. So using ControlMonkey has really transformed how we work with AWS, boosting our efficiency by about 30%. I think what stood out here for me is, first of all, how it integrated with their existing SDLC, their software development lifecycle. So they basically were able to have the same confidence that they have for their SDLC to their, I call this IDLC, so infrastructure development lifecycle, allowing them to deliver faster, to innovate faster, spend less time fixing issues. So that's the director of digital infrastructure. This is what he had to say about ControlMonkey. And I think that one key takeaway from today, or one thing I usually tell our potential customers to do, is start with our IAC risk index. So the IAC risk index is an index that we provide in ControlMonkey that intersect ISC coverage with security issues. So it provides you this intersection, this risk score of like how secure you are, or how risky you are, or not risky, according to how many of your resources are actually managed by ISC and how many of them are secured or have any vulnerability. When you think about resources which are not managed by ISC, they're more likely to have, first of all, security issues. But moreover than that, when someone changes those resources because they're not managed with infrastructure as code, they're not being benchmarked against anything. So they don't go through a pipeline. There is no proactive policy that inspect those changes. So let's say if you have a medium risk issue right now, a medium risk resource, and it's not being managed by ISC, tomorrow that resource could go to a high risk or to critical risk. Someone can change that resource and increase the vulnerability, and you don't know about it. So we see that as customers use more of ISC, their risk is lower, their security vulnerability, they have less security vulnerabilities, and also the likelihood for them to have more security issues and more compliance issues is lower. Same goes for disaster recovery, right? If you have more of your resources with ISC, you have less chance to be caught without any backup for your infrastructure configuration if something goes wrong. So again, my call to action for you guys would be to try out our ISC risk index to see where you are right now as a mutual metric for your team and the security team and even your CISO to understand whether you're in a good shape or a bad shape. You get the risk index in less than 72 hours once you connect to the ControlMonkey platform. So this was about ControlMonkey. If you have any questions, by the way, so you feel free to contact us either to our sales team or to our alliance team, or also book a meeting in our website. You also have this QR code that you can scan, and it will take you to our website. Also, more than invited to follow us on LinkedIn. And now I think we will have time for Q&A if anybody has any question to me.